today. And so that should be submitted on the desk and all that. So hopefully we'll hear back with that soon. Actually, before we even begin, we're still waiting to have that meeting with the state officials. I know one of the ones that wanted to show up, I know he's having some issues like getting around. It would not surprise me if all of these audits end up getting collectively reviewed.
Sure. Yeah.
So that sort of brings me to the next thing, is that I think we should see if there's any high-level after this one gets submitted, we should look to see if there's any other high-level legislation that is like grossly problematic.
Yeah.
Tackle that, and then we circle back and write our own version of the FOIA, like updated. Yeah. And our own version of these documents. And with it, have it signed by me, possibly Dr. Naya, possibly Michael, and say, hey, look what we can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is, and we're not like subject to not being able to push things forward in that way. Is it outside of our scope to approve it? Yes.
Yeah.
But not out of our scope to recommend. So, all right. So let's kick this off. I did put a comment in there, is that we should reference it by the actual document name, because the acts are within it. Let me go ahead and read this. Both the Angel and DOC Act and the powers and definitions of law enforcement acts were established on a foundation of a misrepresented quotation of the Constitution of San Andreas. Hey, Tilly. How you doing?
Good morning.
We're about to just go through this document real quick. This is the Marshals one and whatnot, the one that a lot like makes them believe that, you know, they're high command, and after that we're gonna move on to other things. Yep. All right. While Tilly's hitting her head against the cement right there, both the Angel and DOC Act and the powers and definition of law enforcement officers act established on the foundation of a misrepresented quotation of the Constitution of San Andreas. The Constitution asserts San Andreas Department of Justice, the DOJ shall have legislative authority over all legal and judicial matters within right, there's the quote. Clause is referenced directly in the Angel and DOC Act as follows.
This is the spliced together one, remember?
While similar, the above clause is a misrepresentation of the Constitution of San Andreas, referencing a clause that as written does not exist. So, this is not the appropriate word. I'm gonna say, I think there's a better way to write this line. This clause is not directly in it, right? Is misquoted. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think it should be bold and like underlined. This clause attempts to reference with a misquote. While similar, the above clause, this clause attempts to reference, but instead is misquoted in While similar, the above clause is a misrepresentation of the Constitution of San Andreas, referencing a clause that as written does not exist. The Constitution, in defining the DOJ, references they in the final line. They in the original constitutional context refers specifically to the Department of Justice, not the law enforcement agency that the DOJ is authorized to create. This interpretation confines the ultimate responsibility for preserving Constitution to the DOJ itself rather than its created agency. While it is the opinion of the signatories of this formal request for legislative audit that this misrepresentation of the Constitution has resulted in several instances of unconstitutionality and overreach codified within the Angel and Dios. I want this rewritten in a way that says it has resulted in edits that have effectively overreached. So specifically, I want that it's called out that the edits have resulted in, right? Or alternatively written in a way where it's like, while we may have some concerns with the original writing, but it's the edits that are the highlight, not the entire. The edits are more of an issue than the original document. So while we may have issues with the original document, it's the edits that have. Let me reread this.
You want a more authoritative stance than it is our belief.
Correct. And it's more highlighting the edits that were solely encroaching and leaning on this bastardized misquote.
I wouldn't get stuck on it.
Beautiful, beautiful. As follows, ra-da-da-da-da.
That quotation, the edit in bold in the document, the one that we're talking about.
Beautiful.
By heart and on 1028.
You then go ahead and quote the SASM. Do you have access to all the reports, by the way, Michael?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. And that's how you pulled this.
Exactly.
The SASM with judiciary authority over the state of San Andreas is recognized as hierarchically higher than the two county police departments. It is enshrined authority to encourage and solve county-wide disputes between the police department of Los Santos. Okay. Hiring, firing. Okay, it's this one. This expansion of scope is further evident in the 803 revision made.
This is where the two acts are codependent, right? Where they added in the PD Leo's Act the definition of a marshal as the ultimate authority.
The expansion of the scope is further evident in 803 revision made to the powers and definitions of law enforcement that attempts to further expand the scope and authority of the SASM over other entities within San Andreas. The clause fails to identify whether SASM are a legal, judicial, or legislative authority, and as such attempts to grant power to SASM that the DOJ itself is not empowered to provide. SASM has full jurisdiction and authority over the territory of San Andreas. They have ultimate authority over all law enforcement agencies in matters of conflict or overlapping jurisdiction. DCSO and LSPD may patrol and enforce the laws of the state. Upon reviewing this legislation, as well as the PD Leo's Act, it is evident that several provisions of the Act overextend the scope intended by the San Andreas Constitution. Specifically, the Act appears to assign SASM powers beyond the oversight role that Constitution envisions for the DOJ's law enforcement body and extends into the realm of unfettered executive control, thereby undermining local governance and violating principles of state jurisdictional integrity. As such, we formally request legislative audits of both, and once again, we want to do the replacement of the official title names. Basis for audit. The amendment made on 1028, the Angel DC Act, raises several concerns concerning points of analysis. This is authority. Through this amendment, I see. Through this amendment, the senators are granted jurisdictional over the entire state of San Andreas and are explicitly recognized as hierarchically superior to local law enforcement, namely, while the SASM are tasked with oversight over these local agencies, the grant of hierarchical suggests a command structure. Okay. Oversight refers to role of monitoring, reviewing, and ensuring adherence to laws and regulations, not an authority to directly control or command the operations of local agencies. San Andreas Constitution, in its delegation of powers to local law enforcement, empowers these agencies to maintain operational integrity. Arctos superiority, is it unwarranted, unencroaching, or local autonomy? Yeah. One thing that I'll say in regards to this is it inherently, the way that it was written was, the way that this was originally written was in a manner where it said everything belongs to SASM, right? Oh, not SASM. Yeah, SASM.
It's awesome, yeah.
Where what I believe should have been the intent to say they have jurisdiction over San Andreas when it has matters over the entirety of the island. Like, and that might be something that we might want to highlight at the end, right? And I want to go back to saying this. SASM should effectively be marshals, just as you may find them in any other state across the United States. You do not fuck around with shit unless there is an inherent basis by which they must. So if there's crime in a police department, sure, but they should not be on a daily basis be interfacing on daily, like, county jurisdictional areas, right? Yeah. So if there's a terrorist in San Andreas, that's a SASM issue, right? It might be uncovered by, like, this Snow case, you could argue is a SASM problem, right? Why they didn't take, why they didn't oversee it is fucking beyond me.
That's part of what I brought up in my notes in the original pieces of legislation, is that they have a list of responsibilities, but they're only really actually completing one of them.
Oh, I love it. Did you put that in the document?
I sent it to you directly because Michael already has access, but I didn't realize I can put it in the thing.
That would be amazing.
I have, yeah, I annotated the whole thing.
So,
the title is Michael, don't yell at me.
If there's like a general crime that is like extends beyond, because I think that's what it's almost like when the way that I see it is like this. When the Marshall stuff was originally written, the spirit in which it was written was with the intent of, hey, there's a crime that generally most would consider is set, like, is written away where it was like it defining exactly this, right? There's criminal enterprise cross county crime occurring that can be in the purview of SASM, right? Where they may need to step in and take ownership of a case,
Right.
and then utilize local law enforcement to, do whatever. However, they have, instead of in spirit of the original writing, instead use the openness of the writing to infer that everything is theirs, right? It's like, you know those movies where like the FBI shows up on random crime scenes and takes it over? It's like that, except they do it always and they don't have a basis, SOP, anything. And fuck SOP, it because of the many instances of this, they need to now define it, honestly. They need to be should be officially taking shit over. Like, realistically, the way like this Hydra thing should have been handled instead of what is, by all definition, felony obstruction of justice, is that if there was a belief that Den did some dumb shit or it was fucked up, they should have taken jurisdictional authority over the entire fucking case.
Yeah.
Right? And then came with an assessment, and then it may have either gone to the DOJ or not, but instead they did some dumb shit that, like, doesn't make any fucking sense, I quite frankly.
Well, I mean, even if you look at the original acts, I mean, we can argue that they're unconstitutional, but as currently defined, the Marshals have purview already over investigating and prosecuting organized crime and criminal organizations. Like, they have the authority to take over that Hydra raid with or without anyone doing dumb shit. But they don't actually enforce any of those responsibilities except for the investigation to potentially corrupt cops and government officials.
Yep.
And if you look at their definition in that act, the only thing they bother to go over is basically maintaining integrity, but they don't go over the rest of the responsibilities that are then listed below. They also put way more stipulations and requirements on DOC officers than they do on people eligible to become marshals, but that's a whole different conversation.
Agreed. The whole DOC thing should be split out regardless.
It should be separate. By putting them into one act together, they're basically trying to sneakily assert and cement their own power, because anyone that fucks with it is going to have to be seen as fucking with DOC's authority as well.
That's what I suggested in my first.
Could you
stab
speak
at
up there,
this,
Michael?
That's what I suggested in my first stab at this request for audit, but it was just getting way too long. Like I was lumping too many requests into one document, and it was like 8 fucking pages long. So that's what needs to happen, though. You can't be lumping 2 things together like that.
Yeah, I spent like a little over an hour, I think, going through the original acts, because I hadn't really sat down and read them properly before, and there's a metric fuck ton of issues, and I have some very colorful commentary for you to peruse if you so choose.
Oh, beautiful.
I mean, it doesn't even flow logically. Like you have to jump from the bottom back up to the top to try and understand what the hell
I literally
they're
have
saying.
2 comments on it, and I'm like, why is this like this? And then like 3 comments later, I'm like, oh, now I understand.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
So you can do some fuck shit.
Yeah, thank you. I was gonna say
it.
just that. That is what this is, right? There, you know, I'm sure that if this needed to be defended, there'd be a lot of, you know, just bending over backwards to make try to, you know, justify it. But the speed at which, look at how much effort we put into collectively working on just the audits and the various legislation we do. Let's be honest, something happens, someone slams their foot down or their hand to their to the judge desk, and they're like, you know what? I need to do this. This should be this way. They slam it in without any consideration of how the original document was derived. They throw in their bullshit, and then it's surprising that it doesn't make any sense.
Well, and it doesn't make sense directly, and who knows how it impacts other pieces of legislation that they've written, because they have codependency and a whole bunch of their shit too. So it's just cooked.
I don't know if we want to include it in this audit or not, but something I took major issue with in reviewing the legislation was that the person who heads up the marshal has to be a justice selected by the justices. I mean, I think that's weird to begin with, but the other thing is that there's if they want to change who that justice is that's heading up the marshals, it has to be a unanimous decision by the justices, which would logically therefore include the one that they appointed. So in this case, let's say everyone wants Angel to step down, but Angel doesn't want to step down, then she just gets to say no.
I think so. If I rewind back to where things were 4 months ago, and the original impression that I was given by not just those original series of meetings, but the way that everyone was sold this was Adams had oversight over the bar. Bailey had oversight of the DOC. Angel had oversight of the Marshals. But it manifested into some other thing, into fucking Judge Dredd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it went from an administrative role, which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Into a authoritarian boots on the ground role.
Yeah.
And so to make a similar, like, you know, to draw like a relationship here, it would be as if Judge Adams decided 4 months later that he's going to go around and start like sitting in on lawyers actively handling cases and deciding whether to actively like take over their case or actively like remove it while they're doing something, interject into it. You know what I'm saying? Or like go into a courtroom and be like, oh, you know what? I'm actually going to stand on this side or the other side and actively interfere. That, or in the case of Bailey, if he, you know, you get my point, right? It went from administrative into like directly boots on the ground, and that's a problem. and then utilizing their the other hat, which is the judicial powers to alter things to have direct effect on not just the units on the ground, but her own active investigations, right?
Yeah. And then on top of that, after Bailey left and Adams has been away for a while, she's also co-opted what was supposed to be their responsibilities, consolidating power even more.
Right. And now there's no, you know, now nothing makes any sense because no human being can do that to begin with, right?
Yeah.
So let's go back to the meat of this. I think we're in general agreement that the entire thing is just absolutely butchered.
Yeah.
But so as not to lose sight and to sort of summarize these things that perhaps should be highlighted in the conclusion, is that maybe we mark in there is that inherently the role of a judge should be strictly administrative in nature, akin to DOC and the bar roles that the current justices have. The second, if not already noted, that there needs to be clear guidelines and legislated mandates as to how SASM documents when they take over authority in cases where something is San Andreas is so highly elevated in criminality that they take over the case, right? They need a way to do it. It shouldn't be on a whim, right?
In regards to the administrative thing, I mean, you could argue that that's a intent or a way to interpret it as currently written, because it says a justice shall be assigned internally to provide oversight and direction to the state marshals. If we're operating on the definition of oversight that we're operating with for everything else, it is not meant to be a boots on the ground role.
Wait, where do you see that? Holy, good find.
Details in the paragraph under the definitions.
I think Archibald, you and I caught that in our review of this, where we said she didn't even give herself the power to do the things that she's doing as the overseer of the marshals.
Holy
there's a part
fucking
somewhere
shit.
in this, I'd have to scroll and try and find it, but there's a part somewhere in this where it says they can appoint people as well. So like, for instance, Angel could appoint a head of the marshals to have a more boots on the ground role, right? Well, she does the oversight bit, but
oh my god.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Okay, wait, I need to see this line before I
Hold on.
go on a tangent here.
It's in Archibald and I's.
if you look at my version of the notes, it's the comment that says, why though?
I gotta,
that's about all I got.
I have to say, I am glad we ran into you, Maeve, because you've been crushing it.
I'm Irish. It's my duty to be civic.
I like the title.
Yeah, Michael did that.
Which one?
2 dog shit acts in all caps.
Oh yeah, sorry.
What was the phrase you said you highlighted, right? I got your thing open.
Yeah, if you look for the comment that says why though, I think it's on like page 3 or 4.
Page 3, I see it.
A justice shall be assigned internally to provide oversight and direction. Oh my god. Holy fuck. That's insane.
Because I don't get why it has to even be like a justice. I mean, if we're going with oversight definitions, then sure. But if we're talking about like just head of the marshals, like why does it have to be a justice? That's kind of weird.
I do remember vaguely, and I don't know if this is still the case or not. I'll have to look back through it, but I seem to remember vaguely that like the requirements for who was supposed to be overseeing the marshals were written in a way where only Angel could really fit that requirement, but I don't know if they changed that or not.
I remember this too. Sorry, 1 second. It's McNulty. Hey, McNulty, we're
hey, Nino, how you doing, brother?
Pretty good. How can I help you? Is it urgent or can I call you back?
No. Super fast conversation. I just wanted to keep you in the know, just to make sure I'm not stepping on any toes.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be operating a sewer operation to try find moonshine stills.
That
the,
is
Los
something that
Angeles sewers.
should be cleared by.
I've already run it by Peters, but I know you feel a certain way about the BCSO, so I just want to run it by you.
No, wait. What makes you think I feel a certain way about the BCSO?
Because you kind of haven't you openly shit talked them in front of me?
No. My problem with the BCSO is with the organization. I think Bones is dog shit. I think Cassidy is dog shit. I think Adventura is dog shit. And my opinion is strictly from conversations that are intended to be constructive, but I met with a wall of, but it's always been like this, and the Constitution was not rewritten. So
okay, understood.
Yeah, not from individuals. Like, if you guys want to, do operations down here, I'm all for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just wanted to keep you in the loop.
Absolutely.
Anyways,
do you have a lot of interest down in the sewers?
Well, personally, Nino, I have no interest whatsoever to ever step foot in the sewers and cover myself in human feces. However, I do have a lot of interest in ruining people's moonshining life, and that outweighs the other.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask is we're passing a bunch of shit for the sewer stuff. So if you want to be involved in that conversation, let me know.
Oh yeah, just give me a buzz, brother. I'll be down.
All right, easy.
All right, stay safe. Bye
bye. All right. So, let me see. So the reason why I'm like, what the fuck, is the fact that it is written in here, which then makes me question of some of the things that I know about Pred's case. It draws even higher. Oh my fucking God. Let's put a pin in this thought. Michael, after this whole thing, this is actually huge because Angel was directly involved with what was going on with Pred.
Yeah. I mean, she's directly involved with almost everything the Marshals do, if we're being honest.
That's true, but they have the power of hiding information.
Yep.
We have direct evidence of in this case.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow. Okay. That's crazy. The fact that this is more reason why the shit needs to be split out. I don't know why they did it this way. What is this even called? State Marshals and why? I don't understand.
I'm trying to find the part where they say they can appoint people to do certain things. I'm struggling.
It's near the bottom of it.
This is.
I'll find you the specific spot.
Oh, you mean the line that you referenced? I did find it. It is on line 4.
No, I'm trying to find. There's another part that says like that the DOJ can appoint people to do like certain things in SASM, but I can't.
Oh, this is like temporarily giving civilians the authority of the Marshals, because that's in here.
That isn't there. So is appointing DOC as temporary marshals, which I think is absolutely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
State marshals and correctional officers, in certain circumstances, the SASM may select individuals from the Department of Corrections to assist in specific operations. When a correctional officer is chosen to work directly with the marshal, they shall be temporarily granted the same jurisdiction and authority as the marshal.
Yeah, that's crazy, but it's still not what I'm looking for. Where's the part I'm looking for?
See, this is the thing, right? I know what Nino's going to say.
Let's pause. We should go back to the document and then go back to, are there other things that we need to highlight as a part of this audit? And the format of which the main issue should be strictly that they're now saying like they're high command. But what we can do at the end is, here are some other major issues that we're not going to deep dive, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a good way to do it, because I don't want to overwhelm the auditor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we can put in that last thing is like, this entire document should be split and write down what we believe and are recommending should be done.
Yeah.
Going back to page 2 of the audit, one thing I should note at the top is a note that says, like before all of this begins, given what you will find in this document is a interdependency between two pieces of legislation, we are formally auditing two pieces of legislation due to that interdependency, and therefore have put it into a singular document. We'll be paying for both audits, but something like that, you know what I mean? So when they read it, there's no confusion that it is effectively two audits, but it's all in the same umbrella.
Yeah, okay. I'll put that in.
All right. So going back to 2 where we left off, page 2 where we left off. So while it is the opinion of the signatories of this formal request, the legislative audit, that this misrepresentation has resulted, okay? This expansion of scope is further evident in 803 that attempts to further expand the scope and authority of the SASM over the entities of San Andreas cause to identify. One thing I would like is for when we do quote things, indent it.
Yeah, okay.
Makes the flow of the document a little bit easier to read, I think.
Will that show fine on the forum? I just want to make sure.
On the form?
I think it should. It's like a rich text form, right? When we post it, or do you just post the
no.
the document?
Oh, when we audit, we actually send them a document.
Oh, okay. Then,
Yeah.
Okay,
Good question. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The expansion of the scope is further evident in 803 revision made in the powers and definitions of law enforcement that attempts to further expand the scope and authority of the SASM over all other entities within San Andreas. The clause fails to identify whether SASM are a legal, judicial, and attempts to grant power to SASM that DOJ is not empowered to provide. Upon reviewing this legislation as well as PD Leo's Act, it is evident that several provisions of these acts overextend the scope intended by the San Andreas Constitution. Specifically, the Act assigns SASM powers beyond the oversight role that the Constitution envisions for the DOJ's law enforcement body and extends, right? I'm going to change that for you, into the realm of unfettered executive control, thereby undermining local governance and violating principles of state jurisdictional integrity. As such, we formally request legislative audits of both the Angel, okay, we're going to change that, and the basis of audit. The amendment on 10.8 to the Angel and DLC Act, in addition to the amendments made at 803, is the definition of marshals, presents a significant expansion of the San Andreas State Marshals Authority, raises several concerns pointing to analysis. The SASM, with jurisdictional authority over the state of San Andreas, is recognized as hierarchically higher than kind of police departments. Through this amendment, the San Andreas State Marshals are granted jurisdiction over the entire state of San Andreas and are explicitly recognized hierarchically superior to local law enforcement, namely are tasked with oversight over these local agencies. The grant of hierarchical is a command structure that is inconsistent with the role. Oversight refers to the role of monitoring against the law and regulations on the authority to directly control or command the operations of local agencies. San Andreas Constitution, in its delegation of powers to local law enforcement, empowers these agencies to maintain operational independence within their respective jurisdictions. The Angel above and beyond oversight, particularly in direct intervention in operations. The hierarchical support of the SASM is an unwarranted encroachment of local counties and imposes state-level authority in the form of an all-encompassing hierarchical structure, undermining these agencies' right to govern, operate independence. I do think that in here, that after this, we can say it is the belief of the signatories, like something that SASM, that the original spirit of the legislation and the opinion of the signatories is that the role of the marshals would be akin to the role of marshals in the it would be similar to that of, like, we should point out, like, marshals in the United States, right? where they can take jurisdictional ownership. They should be able to, through clear handing off of control, right? In these matters, but that's not what's being written here, right? Like, if there's a way we can massage that in so that it's clear that, look, oversight makes sense, such that if you need to take over an investigation, right? Oversight makes sense if there's something criminal happening in a department in which an investigation must spring.
Yeah.
But but what we do not agree with is interference, administration, direct involvement, and side policing, unless done so formally. And it is of our opinion that given the encroachment of language, that we strongly believe that once audited and revisited and rewritten, that these fences must be defined to prevent this from happening in the future.
You're really gonna like point number 5 in the conclusion. I'll just say that.
I love that, but I think it should be pointed out here as well.
Yeah, can do.
So
I think,
because as I'm reading this, right, I'm agreeing with it all, but I'm trying to keep myself in the shoes of someone who's reading it, who might in their mind be picturing like the spirit aspect of what was written and being like, yeah, no, of course they're the marshals, they're gonna have oversight.
Yeah.
But they may not understand that we're pointing out that it's not that they're oversighting, it's that they're jumping in there and like trying to just be high command.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, firstly, while you can understand and try to uphold the spirit of the law, the letter of the law needs to match as closely as possible to its spirit. And in this particular case, those two things are very far apart. Secondly, I find it really interesting that the marshals are saying that they can jump in cases of incompetency and things they define as a complete and utter breakdown of the operations of local law enforcement agencies. But again, if you look at the list of their responsibilities, they are not fulfilling nearly all of them. So what happens when the marshals break down and don't do their responsibilities and are ceasing to function?
And we've seen that over and over. Like, you know, Michael, a member of the cabinet, gets shot, they put it under the rug. Fucking Ventura goes to mommy, and they've got an entire blasted investigation, right? Hydra gets raided. Instead of them coming in and deciding, like, honestly, the Hydra case, if it actually is true what they're alleging, then the entire case should have fucking been thrown out. It shouldn't even be going to court. You know, you get what I'm saying? If the FBI came through and they're like, hey, what's his name? Joe Gotti, right? They fucking got Joe Gotti. Yeah, the FBI is going to come through. They're using local law enforcement. And now all of a sudden, like, it turns out that Joe Gotti's, like, fucking entire shit was busted in. They're going to come and be like, we can't take this. We're taking this over. You guys fucked up this case. We got to see if this is salvageable. Right?
Yeah.
Common sense, right,
This goes back to
missing.
malicious actions on the part and low-hanging fruit, like we've previously discussed with the marshals, though, because instead of stepping in and taking in something that was clearly part of their listed responsibilities legislatively, they instead just decided to witch hunt officers for not doing their jobs right. Like, it's the same fucking shit.
Yep, agreed. I think it's a head of the snake problem. It wouldn't surprise me if, like, I take a look at, like, Nova and Doc, for example. I don't think they're necessarily poor law enforcement officers in general, like, you know, ignoring what institute they're a part of. But it would not shock me, given how the encroaching looks like, is that the pitch that was made to them was very different than what their actual roles should have been.
Yeah.
Dark is someone who sees the world in very black and white and is very much a people should be good and legal sort of guy. And I think that Dark is theoretically a wonderful choice for a role of Marshal, because he's going to be very hard on things like corruption. He's going, you know, like, in upholding those ideals. But when you have the institution being as it currently stands, then that gets warped.
I absolutely agree. And I think in a similar fashion, Nova, very obviously addicted to fucking drug calls, right? But, you know, you have to ask the question, why in the fucking world would a marshal be usurping county level resources to fly drones over like gang areas like on a whim, right? The on a whim is my major contention. I point back at ADMC, right? The situation with ADMC. It starts with apparently it's a drug call and then spirals into some bullshit. If there is that much drugs there, then wouldn't you first build up a case for it, which is then focused by whoever their person is to hyper focus that area, right? Instead of sort of generically.
Yes.
Sorry, just 1 second.
Yep.
Hey, Flippy.
Yo, Nino. Oh my God, good news.
They dropped the case?
Oh no. I was talking about you
Wait,
could sign
no
in
way.
for mechanic, and I
guess
know.
hold on.
Good. Oh my
Yeah.
God!
Things
Finally,
are about to get desperate.
Yeah.
I'll put out a state announcement.
Yeah,
Hell
I don't know
yeah.
about Sandy, but maybe Sandy as well.
I will make a call to someone over at sanitation.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, easy. Appreciate
All right.
you, Flippy.
Yeah, no worries. Bye.
You take care. Bye. We can do 24-hour sanitation now. Or sorry,
shit.
mechanic. Let me
Oh, shit.
see.
Yeah, beverage as well.
Tilly, can you do us, unless you're like really into this conversation, which I imagine you might. Are you? Maybe.
What do you want?
Could you see if you can sign into Sandy?
Yep. I'll be back.
Awesome, thank you. Oh my God, here we go, and then we gotta get the fucking hanger shit soon. Oh
Hell
my
yeah.
God, I am going to suck someone's cock if.
Oh my God.
Hey, Arius,
Hi, how are
I
you?
would like to
I'm
get
doing
a
very
helicopter
good.
license.
Is it urgent or quick? Cause I'll otherwise have to call you back.
Yeah, yes, quick. I was just wondering if you had Carmine's number.
Yes, Carmine Costello.
I would never
Yeah.
say that out loud in a professional setting.
Just saying.
There we go. There it is. Boom, boom.
Oh, thank you. All right, good luck.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, bye.
I want the mall warehouse so fucking bad. I'll give like fucking whatever. Cause like honestly, we can so propel like the state of civilian life and just like enjoyment in the city. Like I'm so convinced of that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna push that again once this is all sorted. Hey Johnny, is it quick or can I call you
Very
back?
quick. Just a reminder that around this time tomorrow is Alice Idol.
Around this time tomorrow, I'll be there.
Yes, sir.
Legend.
Have a good one.
All right, you take care.
Bye.
Let me. Okay, once she comes back, I'll put out the state announcement. Let's go back to the document, and then
Okay.
I want us to kind of make note of some of these other things that we're kind of pulling out.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you talking about like the greater issues with the act? You mean?
yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
Archibald we've already
Yeah,
done
yeah.
that.
Oh, beautiful.
Like a whole separate.
Well, I mean,
document.
we'll
Apparently, I wrote
review.
my own, and they have a joint one.
I think we can review. I mean, just reviewing it and those other things, you know.
Yeah.
Honestly, the more that I look at some of these laws, because I've just been independently looking over more and more lately, I feel like it would not be that difficult if I just had the money for it to completely crash this entire government just based on the contest that I could easily justify through the constitutionality of it.
Yep.
It's bad. It's bad. We're gonna slowly go through this with a fine tooth.
Hey,
comb.
Flippy.
I just checked the Sandy yard. You can sign in now. And I.
Oh my God, good. Okay, I'm gonna get someone to check the rest, and then I'll stand announce it.
Okay, sounds good.
Hey, hangar is flying shit's gonna be around probably in the next week.
Oh, what? Sorry.
Flight certs.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
fucking God.
it's not just gonna be some bullshit. It's actually pretty
Yeah,
fucking
proper-
legit. Yeah,
proper stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
easy.
Sweet.
All right,
Thank you.
I appreciate
Appreciate it.
Bye.
See ya.
All right. Okay.
I forgot
I'm-
what we were on before the calls came in.
Yes. So we
You're right
can
around-
make a
Potentially expanding to.
yeah, we can
more
we
problematic
can
parts.
review it and list out the other things. All right. So, intervening with law enforcement agencies. Additionally, the San Andreas State Marshals reserve the right to directly intervene with county law enforcement agencies to correctly neglect, corrupt,
Welcome
and
back.
incompetent behavior by any law enforcement. Okay. The amended act expands SASM's role to include direct intervention of law enforcement through corruption and incompetence. Oversight traditionally involves the monitoring. It looks good, Tilly, for Sandy.
Yeah, looks good.
Hell yeah. Real quick, what other? Can you check lumber? Actually, we'll do that
I'm
together.
sending
afterwards.
someone to do it right now.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to check lumber.
I got.
The amended acts to ensure accountability of the power granted by the SASM far beyond the typical role. Instead of simply ensuring compliance with the law, the act empowers SASM to discipline, fire, or punish officers, therefore taking on an operational role. That is traditionally reserved for local and county level bodies, such as elected municipal leader and local police command. This shift in authority represents a substantial expansion of the SASM scope, allowing it to directly intervene in operational matters and make decisions typically within the purview of local authorities. This broad grant of power allows the SASM to act as an executive body overriding local governance mechanisms and circumventing established processes such as impeachment or due process for wrongdoing. Such authority raises constitutional concerns regarding the balance of power. The key concern is that local agencies are designed to be self-regulated. Yeah, this is a great point that you make, which is we already have mechanisms that exist. This is a secondary unnecessary mechanism because you can impeach, audit, conduct review, etc., etc. So if it actually is an issue, people have that ability to do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be through this like bullshit administrative fashion.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That was one of my concerns as well, because like if they want to investigate or prosecute potentially corrupt officers and then fire them once they're convicted, then sure. But like if they're going to be making decisions for hiring, firing, disciplinary actions, whatever, like that needs to remain with the department. And then my biggest issue is also with the incompetent behavior part of this, because that's not part of their authority at all, like as stated in their responsibilities and definition, especially if they're not willing to fucking train people like they said before.
Yeah.
If you see incompetency as a marshal, you can report it to command, and then command can do
Agreed.
shit about it. But they shouldn't be like, "You're incompetent, so we're gonna fire you or give you some sort of punishment." That's
Yeah.
not their purview to decide.
I'm gonna let you chit chat on some stuff while I write up this state announcement.
Yeah. Go for it.
All right.
Hey,
Anyway,
Taylor, you want something to read while you're just standing there?
Do I want something to read?
something that's not legislation?
What is this? Why do I have so many books on me? All right. Let me get a drink of my coffee before I read this.
Have a late night.
I would just like wake up in a bad mood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like just no reason whatsoever. Just
Mhm.
wake up in a bad mood.
Literally every
It does
night.
happen.
That was me yesterday, and then I had some food and I laid down for 10 minutes and I was over.
Huh?
500.
Yeah, I
think
do
that's
find
just
most of the time.
angry.
Yeah, I do find most of the time if I'm not in a good mood, usually I either need to eat something or I need a nap. So
I was texting Forte. I was like, I'm going to bed. I'm over this shit. And then I like laid down for 10 minutes and I had lunch and I was like, okay, I'm good. Resume regularly scheduled programming.
All right, what is this book? Live Free or Die of Blaine Rods. In Blaine County lived
You don't have
young
to read it out
Tilly.
loud. It's
Oh,
okay.
no. Can I? You don't want me to read it out loud?
I mean, Everyone's
In
seen
Blaine County lived young Tilly Shidu, a girl with big dreams and a low IQ. The Blainers all knew her as tough and as smart, with
Oh no.
eyes on high office.
Tilly, you don't have a gun, do you?
No, I don't have I have a knife.
No, I got that back. Oh shit.
Should I take it out for this? Well,
No, I'm just no, I was as I'm like
Just
typing
for
this up, I
information,
just
yeah.
you know.
No, it's a fairy
Thinking about
tale.
it.
It's not a true story.
But Tilly had baggage. A young son named Little Tugs, a wide-eyed boy who craved motherly hugs that he does. Yet Tilly, determined, left him behind to chase glory in politics. She felt so. I did not leave my son behind. Who wrote this?
Where
Your
is he?
son is Lil Tugs.
Yes, I did not leave him. He's grounded. He murdered somebody.
Yeah, he slit Forte's
shit.
throat on our front fucking step.
He murdered somebody. He's grounded. I did not.
He's like the whole reason we don't tell people we're in a relationship.
Like I said, it's not a true story. It's like a nursery rhyme.
She polished her boots, her hair in a bun, told her neighbors, I'm fixing to get something done. And off she did march, with her chin held up high, ready to show them Blaina's can fly. But fate had plans for old Tilly that day. For Blaina's disease, who wrote this? Was this fucking Nino?
No idea.
Who wrote this?
Found it on the ground.
Did you write this?
No?
Nino?
There was like a stack of them in May's bank.
There you go.
Blaine Rod struck while she slumped on her dreams, and she took her down. Oh, I read this wrong. We're gonna go to the next one. The Blaine is outside. And some shed a tear. She tried to break free, but ended up here. Okay, who wrote this? Here's the end Tilly, who reached for the skies. A Blaine with dreams, who aimed way too high. Her legacy odd, but her spirit lives on. And Little Tug's laughter, her memory strong.
Oh, somebody got the taco stand apparently.
Yeah. I was operating it up until last night when Cal Mal woke up in the middle of the night and sold it.
Yeah. Funerals give me a
No.
bonus, dude.
Wait, what happened? Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, Cal woke up
Someone-
last night and sold it to Joaquin Jimenez.
Wait,
And-
I'm so confused. Did we like what? How?
I don't know. I talked to Joaquin today. He said he bought it from Cal. Gabby Brito didn't even know about it, even though she was running it as a cash.
Oh
business.
my, wasn't that his
poor girl.
girlfriend?
Yeah.
Yo.
Oh, that's rough.
I mean,
Damn, we
honestly,
really said fuck that.
I mean,
hey,
he kind of abandoned her here, so you know,
Mm.
it's not like they were close at this point.
She had choices.
I mean, we were giving them produce, and Gabby and a couple people were operating it as a cash only business because they couldn't get into the back to get their money out.
So
I-
who did he sell
how-
it to?
is the state announcement I put out? I tried to make it extra cringy by putting your Maya comma. What do you think?
I love that.
Why is Larry
I love
twatting blow my beef?
Not able to sign into lumber.
Hello?
Well, you know, if only Andy responded to our email.
Yeah.
You know.
What were we talking about? We were just talking about something.
I'll be right back.
Just now we were talking about the different sign-ins and the extended
before
hours
that.
act. What did we get into? Hold on. I
We were
kind
just
of
talking
zoned
about
a bit.
something.
Oh wait, that's right. We did have lumber in this originally.
Originally, yeah.
We did originally propose lumber to be included in the expanded legislation. However, the previous administration did not sign nor did not respond to our requests. We will work with Pred to... Okay. We originally proposed lumber to be included in the expanded in
Nino.
the legislation. Yep. Sorry, 1 second. Originally proposed that lumber be included in the legislation. However, the previous amendment did not respond to our request. We'll work with Pred to rectify. There we go.
Oh, sorry, Joey.
Hey, let's get retweets on that.
I need you to put down your legislation for a second.
I have to see the reaction to this. But, yeah. I think he's getting that one more state announcement real quick.
Oh no, I put it on Twata.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Go ahead and retweet that.
To the sewers.
Oh, okay, good shit. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah, there's a whole squad of them like this.
Wait, does it not retweet? God damn it.
No.
Nope. I just put IT.
Okay, let me
It's Shiesty, me, Mateo, and
Who the fuck is this?
It's Forte.
Forte.
Ugh.
Oh hey, a sperm.
I doing
Forte these
Forte.
nuts.
They're going down to the sewers.
We're all wearing different colors.
Sounds a little sussy.
Like Teletubbies?
Yeah, kinda.
Power Rangers.
No, not even
Oh my god, you're
close.
sewer rangers.
I wouldn't say that. We're the something.
You're gonna have to fight over who's the red one.
I will tell you what we find. I'm gonna go
Okay.
clean this shit up.
Yeah,
All right.
have fun.
I think the question Shiesty had was, that's our jurisdiction, right? Like, underground and above ground is everything, right?
That is correct.
Alright, cool.
As far
So
as
we're good.
I'm aware, yeah, that 100%.
Alright.
I'm sure they'll have fun getting acclimated to that.
Let us,
Yeah.
please do let us know how it goes.
Yep.
Be
Later.
See you, Forte.
Yeah,
All
they're all
right.
standing over there in different colors, and he really wanted to show you.
I have this
He was
problem.
like, "Is he gonna be proud of us?"
No, I mean, my ADHD stops me from focusing on anything other than what's like directly the mission. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go back to this thing right over here. Resolving internal disputes. As normal times, oversight involves monitoring, evaluating, and reporting on compliance. It does not involve direct administrative control. The decision. Okay, this is fantastic. Conclusion. Okay, fantastic. So now, conclusion. The Angel DLC Act, by granting the SASM unrestricted and undefined jurisdictional authority over local enforcement directly, controls the San Andreas constitutional intent for a supervisory rather than operational dominant role. Okay, reevaluate and amend the act to align SASM's authority strictly within its constitutional mandate. Okay, reevaluate and amend to define marshals in compliance with the constitutional mandate. Codify and universal definition of oversight. I love it. Avoid misrepresentation of language drafted in the Constitution, especially in instances of... Okay. Clearly define the circumstances whereby direct involvement... I love it. We should expand this to... So some of the things that we talked about. Split the DOC and Marshals legislation or legibility or whatever, right? And explain the why. At the top of this list, define in legislation where their jurisdiction begins and ends. In a fashion that aligns with the spirit of intent of both the Constitution and the original writing of this document.
Yeah.
That the document should underline the legal steps needed for SASM to overtake whatever is happening. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they should define, like, something in here that, like, this document should define how they
So an officer,
take
let me-
on
let
a
me take this
case.
quick.
Yeah.
Hey, TJ, I'm just in a meeting. I'll call you back, okay? TJ? Hello? Oh, he didn't answer. It's all good. Yeah, so define the steps needed to exercise their jurisdictional authority.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
define their it and how they should be doing it officially.
Yeah, yeah.
Love it.
So I think I started on that. You'll see below the conclusion, there's a proposed definition of what oversight is. And in that, there's a subsection called threshold for intervention. And I can expand on that, but it kind of touches on the main points that you've been bringing up.
Okay, I love it.
Like if there's a systematic or statewide issue, sure. If there's imminent risk to the Constitution or the rule of law, sure. You know, I'll expand on it. But that's where this all comes back to, and that's
Yeah.
the challenge with writing this document, Nino, is that there's a lot that they say in that new clause, but it all really comes back to the same thing. They have this bastardized definition of oversight, and they use it to expand their scope and their authority. So all the conclusions for each of those subsections are effectively the same.
I think with everything that's been said so far, that our conclusion needs to also be clear that all edits be reverted. Recent edits be reverted due to its unconstitutionality.
I mean,
That is the primary thing. And then our secondary is the things that we're listing.
Right.
Right?
I honestly think there's so many issues inherently with, especially the first act, that, I mean, we basically need to throw it all out and start over. Like, I'm not even
Yeah.
sure, like, amending is going to be helpful at this point, because, like, if you look at the amount of comments and, like, revisions and stuff we're all suggesting, like, it gets crazy. Like,
I agree with
it's
you.
one thing if it's one or two key points, but I basically think we need to throw it all out and start over.
I agree
been
with
that.
you, and I think that's why the way that conclusion should be written is that we honestly believe that this entire thing, the legislation, given the amount of issues in it, many of which we're not even highlighting at this time, indicate that the entire thing should be thrown out. However, our biggest problem right now is the most recent edits that have been put in. I think we got to hit both of those points. And the reason for that is, while I strongly agree with what Maeve is saying, is I don't know how all it takes is someone being like, that's too much work.
Yeah, I do agree that we should go ahead and focus on the current changes for now. It'll be the easier when we go ahead and get that out of the way, and it'll also establish our credibility in looking over these things, so when we submit for the rest of it get looked at, we'll be taken more seriously.
I think we can do both, right? As long as our language is clear in the conclusion. That we are now stepping in because it's gotten so far, but generally it is our position in this as the signatories that the entire document is dog shit at this stage. Would that be accurate? Like, how do y'all feel about my conclusion there?
Yeah.
Because I think, because right now it says, you know, review and amend, but I think our real intent is to repeal and replace.
Yeah. The problem is that's kind of, when you start going through all the state legislation, it all follows this exact same trajectory. You
Yo,
kinda
chat,
hone
I'm so
in on
sorry.
one
I
thing,
had
but as
hot
you
mic so that I
explore
could read the
and
document.
investigate, you
Nika,
realize
thank you the
that
prime
whole
sub.
thing is
Nicole,
ass.
thank you for the 19 months.
And I wish
Clues,
there was a more
11 months.
eloquent way
Appreciate
for
you.
me
Guys,
to
we
put
got
that,
a new
but
board up.
We've done how many of these now, Archibald?
Waiting for people to take
start
first,
throwing
second,
them.
third place on your biddies and gifty badges.
That's why I started looking into everything else and started to find all this thing. I'm
Man, we
very
are
serious when I
cooking.
say I could bring this fucking government to a halt by myself if I had enough money right now.
Yeah.
Easily.
You do? What do you mean?
understand
You have access
that-
to $220 million to me.
Yeah.
Okay, I was meant personally. I understand what you're saying. I don't actually want to do that.
Okay, yeah.
But the disheartening thing that I want to raise here is that I feel like we put all this forward, but the people who need to make the change don't really want to do the job that they have, and that's what's disheartening. I wish I had a better way of putting that, but I don't.
Well, I will tell you what I ultimately conclude to when people spiral too hard and keep getting bullied by the marshals and the justices is that you got to remember that this is what would have happened if dasMEHDI was in that position. It would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
Like it was from 2 weeks in, it was an abuse of power, right?
Yeah.
And we tried to work with them, and it just never. It's the same thing we get when I speak to Bones and Cassidy, is that they're immediately there's like, how do I put it? It's like immediately offended that you don't like take their position wholesale.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like you're speaking to somebody who's waiting for you to say something that they can take out of context and then divert the entire conversation around that instead of working together to come to a solution, right?
That's the point I want to drive home, right? Is that, are you really working in the best interest of the state if people want to try to work with you to make it better and you refuse to? That's kind of what it just bugs me. It just bugs me.
And I will say, from the lawyer perspective, they're going to attempt to account. Basically, they're going to attempt to try to project and flip that on you. And some people are going to end up taking them more seriously. And that's part of the problem, is their inherent optical authority. People see them as people in these high positions of power, even though they weren't elected in necessarily. When it comes to the justices, most of them were appointed, if not all of them. And so it's weird. It's not quite the will of the people thing. And I'm starting to ramble now, so I'll shut up and let somebody else take over.
Here's the thing: is optics is very fairly something we should be concerned about and considering.
Of course.
And I get not like wanting to overwhelm our auditors, or make it seem like we're just trying to take away their power and a grab for ours. Like I get all these points, but maybe what we need to be doing, rather than not doing things because we're concerned it could look a certain way, is be putting more of a conscious effort into positive optics. If we could perhaps, if we want to suggest repeal and replacing, maybe we can work on, granted this would take more time, but presenting a solution where we show we're not looking to, limit them into a corner, but just fairly established guidelines, and this is what we're hoping to achieve, where that way people can't take this partial solution we're putting forward and twist it to something when we lay all our cards on the table and say, hey, no, this is what we're doing.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was the intent behind this group meeting for the FOIA legislation, right? I believe that was supposed to be all the tiers of government working together for a joint solution, but it hasn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's the more public side of it. I agree with you. And all I'll say is anytime we talk about public optics, it ends up with me making a book. So let's put a pin in that for now.
Yeah, I agree.
I just want to make a book.
I believe that we have done more legislative work than the authorities combined.
I think you'd be right.
I wish this was expanded beyond teams. What the fuck? You heard that, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it?
It sounded like some fucking Apache helicopter ship, but with jet engine on it or something.
Yeah.
It sounded like a spaceship.
I'm trying to go to space.
They tried that before the economy collapsed. I think that was part of why things crashed.
So,
yes, that's the moon, Tilly.
The moon.
See ya.
Do we want to go through the? Sorry, go ahead, Tilly.
Oh, nothing. Go ahead.
Do you want to go through the list of the other issues? Should they be appendixed to this document?
Here, let me share something with you. There you go. Maybe you have it already. Archibald, you should, but I'll send it to you as well.
Is it the
Did he
one you two
text
worked
it?
on?
Oh, there it is. Man, we are cooking, huh,
I
chat?
feel like if we merge ours with yours, we kind of have literally every point that you could possibly make against that piece of legislation.
Yeah, mine wasn't exactly worded in a professional or presentable way, but I can
Could
make
you
a pretty
imagine
nice
this is
version.
how meetings were?
You kind of did it the same
with
way
the other
Archibald and I did, where
jurisdictions?
we started reviewing it in good faith, and then by about page 3, we're like, "What the fuck is this bullshit?"
I mean, to be fair, my very first comment is "what" in all caps, and then also in all caps, "why is this softcore fascism?" So
yeah,
yeah.
I wouldn't even call it softcore, really. But
It's funny you say that because I brought that up, and there was just like a feeling of like, I don't know what that means. Of course it's not, and it had me question. I don't think a lot of people actually know what fascism is. I think that word gets related to imagery that has, how do I put this? Imagery that was fascist, but was not the only type of fascism.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, fashionable.
Yep. Exactly.
The U.S. education system has sadly failed people when it comes to civics. Not just in the U.S. though.
Yeah.
the initial line is not a voice that should be heard. I literally, I need you guys to know, when I read that, I literally screamed out loud, like, what? Like, that shit is crazy. You are actively silencing voices because they dissent from you.
Yeah.
The Irish in me just got really intense when I read that. I was, yeah.
Now, the Black and Tan song came on in my head, too.
Wait, is this written somewhere, or did you write this?
No, it's in the very start, in the introduction of the Angel Act. It's where is it? I'll read the whole sentence. I'll read the paragraph even. In every form of government, there will always be dissent from the people. Dissent from the populace is a requirement for a functioning democracy and should be encouraged and celebrated. The voice of the people is the conduit through which change is conducted. However, some would use this voice and amplify it further into hatred and violence against the people of the state of San Andreas and its government. This hatred for the citizens of the state of San Andreas and its institution is not a voice that should be heard, but one that everyone unifies against and stomps out of existence. Hatred and disdain for our citizens' rights have no place in the state of San Andreas, and this legislation shall ensure this.
Like I hear that said, and the Imperial March just starts playing.
Like, this entire introduction is basically a campaign speech. It's extremely politically charged to create a certain set of optics, and that's legislation is not the place for that. Write the damn laws. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That is such a good addition.
I forgot they referenced the Sanguinile conflict in here.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Wait, you're right. What the? Wait, holy shit. I never read this. This is actually nasty.
It's horrifying.
It's crazy. It is literally the most insane piece of legislation I've ever read. And like, you know, I'm new to this cabinet, but it's not my first go around with legislation. It's literally the most insane piece of legislation I've ever read.
This is a slight uptick from what we're used to as well. Or maybe what I'm used to, at least. I don't know about the others. I don't want to speak for them.
Wait, it was never in
I've
here.
seen some shit, but
wait, this was added.
Yeah.
When?
Was it 3 months ago?
7/13. What the fuck? Bailey put this in here? I'm gonna assume he was drunk or something. Wait, no, he didn't.
No.
Wait, when did this get added?
All right, let's check.
No. It is. That's where the DOC
The phrase
came
stomped out
into
of
place.
existence is wild too.
So
people who disagree with us should be stomped out of existence is basically what that just said.
Last time Bailey touched this was the 3rd of August.
So I will say, so as not to fall into the realm of hypocrisy, early on, even we wanted to write legislation that was a bit politically charged for allowing there to be spice, and then immediately there was crying. Like, we passed legislation talking about, like, we were trying to pass legislation for borders, and we said, like, we don't want, like, inbred genes from, like, making their way from Blaine County going down here.
It was
or, like,
spicy.
But,
it was
but
spicy.
it's one thing to
Yeah.
legislate and have that be like the legislation itself to be politically charged. It's another to put in a whole fucking campaign speech at the beginning.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
That one.
No,
Yeah,
no, we
that-
did.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I
it got
will
smacked
say,
down real hard.
it got
by the DOJ.
exactly. It was just like, and I will say though, but we did if that was the norm, I'd be okay with it. But given that we've been told it's not the norm, now I'd take umbrage with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's we are all. This comes back to the understanding that every legislative authority should be on a similar playing field, similar set of rules. But so that we don't get too off track here, of what's written in here, I want Archie, Maeve, Michael. I know there's some edits you got to make, Michael, after we talked a little bit today.
Yeah.
I think we're like 90% there.
Yeah.
Get that stuff in. And then some of these concerns, either do it in an attached appendix
Yeah.
or add it to the document. But the key thing here is that either in the preamble and the conclusion that we actually have an issue with the general writing of this at this point.
Yeah.
And that we believe that it should be rewritten. However, our primary reason for the audit is the hyper encroachment. That's what we are going to attempt to address, though we believe the entire thing should be rewritten.
Yeah.
And once again, it's important so that the reader, whoever they may be, a third party, understands the position we're coming from before they begin reading.
So I've got to fly out in about 10 minutes. Maeve, Archibald, if you guys don't mind, can you consolidate the general feedback on the two pieces of legislation into one document for me, so I can extract your comments and put it into this appendix? And then I will clean up all the commentary that we had today on the audit. I'll make the revisions, and we'll try and tie this up by end of day today.
Do you want me to I can just move my comments over to your two's joint
Whatever
document.
is easiest for you two, honestly.
Yeah. I like that. Easy.
Do you
All
want
right.
the unfiltered version or the plain ice version?
Oh, no, fuck filters.
Do something interesting.
You
want me to take my dick out, baby?
We'll get on that. I will only be around for a little bit today. I got to go do some work outside of the city later, but yeah, I will get on that shortly then.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Hell yeah.
Awesome. Okay. I think I have everything I need.
Michael, is this something that we can conclude on tonight?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. All right.
It'll be. I'll probably fly back in about 4.5 hours, and I'll give you a call right away, and I should have a finished product for you. I have one more thing to update you on. I met with PAPS today, right after Storm, and they would be open to selling. They had a
I heard the pizza
couple-
place sucks to run though.
Does it?
Yeah.
Why?
A lot of chopping apparently.
Oh fuck, they all do.
However, find out what percentage they've got. Well, you say they all do, but from what I heard, that is one of the worst ones.
Okay.
But
find out.
if
was
it's
the
got a
worst one.
lot of the supply, well then that might be good to work with Caruso with.
Yeah. Okay.
Counterpoint.
Mm-hmm.
If it's one of the worst ones, maybe that should be the one that we take, because we're going to be paying people a lot more, and it leaves the easier ones for the rest of
True.
people.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
So
I love it.
I'll try and get more information. I may even get PAPS to throw me on the panel, just so I can kind of hands on it. And
That's a
report
good
back.
idea.
Yeah. And then I'll
Can you
back
get
to
him
but-
to add me as well?
Yeah,
It's
I'll
going to
talk to him.
be 1166.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I'll do that. Yeah, he said Eli is the leaseholder. He said he just needs to talk to a couple people to make sure that they're open to parting ways with it, and then he'll kind of come back.
We need time anyways for shit to, like, nothing is gonna pass.
I said don't have these conversations today. We've got time.
Yep.
So.
All right, love it.
I'll do that. I'll get the due diligence done. I'll report back. I'll get us added to the panel and we'll go from there. Anyone else need anything from me before I fly out?
Oh, no,
You got food?
None that's edible.
I have some you can have.
Thank you.
You can have like 5 copies of that. You want to sign those for me?
No, I don't. Take back your fucking copies.
Goodbye.
All right. All right, y'all. Give me a call if you need anything.
No.
Oh, Nino, one thing.
Thank
I
you.
found something
Yes.
I thought you might find amusing. Let me hand this to you.
Okay.
It was just kind of sitting in the food court. I don't know who put it there, but
Oh, I am a collector. What can I say?
What is it?
It's one of those pin dolls.
Oh. Like a voodoo doll?
it's meant to. Well, the label on it says that it is meant to be, you know, a pin holder for people who sew. But it's pretty much a voodoo
It's
doll
pretty
for
much a voodoo doll.
I
Yeah.
need a voodoo doll of you.
All right. Maeve, Archibald.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a
See
good
you
one. Play
soon.
safe.
Bye.
All right. Yo, chat. Holy fuck, we goddamn cooked, chat. We fucking cooked.